Hello, welcome to another edition of Sun Dragon Tips and Tricks. Rebecca at home. I'm leaving all the bloopers in. That's what I got time for today. I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in Brevard, North Carolina, and I'm coming to you from my house today. And filming a little late because I was making this little guy. I'm making my first granny square chicken that I will stuff and do this with, and won't it be cute? And I'm realizing his eyes look like they were really off when he looked like this. Woo! Okay, maybe. We'll see. I've been on a crochet kick, and spring, if not summer, has finally hit, even though it is, still the end of April. So it's actually pretty toasty in here, but I have on my second Granny Hexi that I finished because I wanted to show you all. I may not be keeping it on the whole time because I'm already toasty. So, even though this is cotton. So, oh, I got my kitty behind me. So, this is the second Granny Hexi Cardi that I made. This one is with cumulus, 3 different colors of cumulus, and I kept it down to 6 balls, 2 of each color. I changed colors every 2 rows. And I flipped one inside out. Like, I made sure that I talked to y'all last time about wanting to flip the colors. I think for 2 weeks now. Flip the colors, or no, keep the rainbow colors going in the same order. And then I wanted to flip so that the pink was on the outside. So what I have is 2 rows of the green solid, 2 rows of rainbow, 2 rows of dappled, 2 rows of green, 2 rows of rainbow, 2 rows of dappled, 2 rows of green, 2 rows of rainbow, 2 rows of dappled. I seamed it on the outside with the dappled, and I was in a place that if I did it in the right way, the seams kind of match. And like I said, I flipped one square inside out, although you're changing direction every row, so it's not really that crazy to flip one inside out. They have front rows and back rows on both. But I managed to make it so if you look at how the colors are shifting, it's got what I call a watermelon look. These 2 rows are both the rainbow, and it matches on this side, kind of, mostly. And then the back side, there's some yellow and stuff in there that should match as well. The other neat thing about this, the drape with this, is such that I didn't add any extra rows to the bottom. I didn't add any extra rows to the sleeves other than edging. And the other one, I had to add like 5 rows to get the same amount of length with the Cascade 220 Superwash, which I'm using leftovers to make this little guy. So, it was a lot of fun to make, and I've used almost every square inch of the rainbow. There's my little guy. There's my little girl, I should say. That's Freya. Avi's kind of grumpy and hiding most of the time. He's out sometimes. He's looking to me for protection sometimes. And this little girl kind of rules the house at this point. Yeah, hi. Hi. You want to say hi? Yeah. She's like, I don't know how I feel about all this. She likes yarn, so that's a problem I'm having to deal with, is she will actually eat and chase yarn much more than Avi would. But I love this. Like, I got to the right measurement. I did 3 rows on each side of the back and a joining row. And I have a lot of the green left over. That's what I have left over. But I'm already getting a little toasty. So I'm going to take this off and hope that the cat doesn't eat it. But I was going to show you a few other things I've been working on, and some things I have not touched at all. But it is, she is just taken off down the hallway. It is definitely getting to the time when I would like to be doing some summer things. Unfortunately, a lot of the things I want to be making progress on are in the ribbing section, which I think I talked about last time. Or 2 times ago. I don't know. So there was one night when I was making progress on this fancy cardigan. Again, it's crochet. It's based on Hexagon. And I showed it a couple times on Instagram, so I was like, I don't really want to do it again. I don't want to work on ribbing. So I started another Granny Hexi Cardigan. This one is with a Land du Nord paint gradient sock, and it goes from dark to light and then starts over at dark. So I think with this, I started with dark in the center. Like if I fold it, it's teeny tiny. It's like a Barbie one right now. I'm using a G hook, and this will be, this is something I might, here, when you fold it wrong, it does this. And if you fold it right, it does this. Like if you take one side and fold the edges to each other, that's how this works. Then you have the L. That's what you want. It's gonna go to the light, and then I'm gonna start pulling from the center. Like when I'm halfway through the ball, I'm gonna start pulling from the center and go light to dark again. I just wanted to see how a fade would look in this, and I think it will be very, very pretty. But there's not much to show of this, right? So, the bigger one I've been working on, so I wanted to do something with cotton. It's tough with crochet. Oh, and all my hooks are like stuck and everything else. It's really tough with crochet to make a lightweight garment. Like that, even that one with cotton. Yes, it is a worsted weight chainette cotton, the one I just finished. And that means it traps air inside, and it's actually a lot warmer than it looks. Twist cotton, like this is really thin twist cotton. Twist cotton, though, is heavier. And crochet is a heavier stitch because you're pulling, like if you take a single crochet and compare it with a single knit stitch. A knit stitch, they're about the same height, roughly. A knit stitch is pulling one loop through one loop. A crochet stitch is going in and pulling up a loop. And now you've got two loops on your hook because you start with let me back up. They both start with a loop somewhere. One loop on the hook, bunch of loops on the needle. But when you knit, you've got one new loop coming through one loop. Done. When you crochet, you've got the loop, you reach into the fabric and you pull up another loop. So you've got two, and then you pull another loop through both of those. So you've got two pull throughs instead of one. And you've got more fabric there. And then double crochets. So this is what I'm working on now. with this very summery sparkly. Even with longer stitches, you have, like, there's triples in here, doubles and triples to make the texture of this. And it's thicker. It's more open. That's the trade-off. Like, if you see something this open, it is probably crochet. It's very hard to get this much open stitch work consistently with knitting. Like Stephen West does stuff where he adds on stitches and then you work into them. He has big gaps, but only in certain parts of his shawls. You can do drop stitches, but they're not going to give you the same fancy look as this. Something like this, really, you achieve with crochet. But this is heavier, and this is using up more yarn than if I was knitting something like this. But the counter to it is that wind will be able to blow through it. So we'll see. I'll have to tell you later when I finish it how I'm feeling about it. But again, this is one of these, you know, if you see the angle coming out from the center, this is one panel. One, and then there's 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 6 of them. And so, yeah, they don't lay flat when you have them. If I was doing something with 6 sides that I wanted to lay flat, I wouldn't be increasing this fast, is really what's going on. But if I take one side and I fold it to itself and then make everything else line up, then, oh, you can almost start to see the pattern of this. I feel like when I was doing this before and I would fold it and hold it up, it'd be like, it was just so busy because you see both the back and the front lace work. But now that this is getting bigger, you can actually see, it just doesn't look like a hot mess. It's, you know, like, when your arm is in it, you only see one side. So that is what it's going to look like when it's done. It's called the Granny Hexi Cardigan. I'm forgetting the author right now. She had a catchphrase rather than her name, which is longer and harder to spell for people who aren't familiar with it. I will put it in the description. It might even be in the description from last week. I can't remember. But I'm having a lot of fun with this. I still have this much left of one ball. I am going to assume I'm not going to go by the centimeters of last time, but if my bust, if my widest measurement at this point is probably 47 inches or so, this one doesn't have extra pieces seaming it. It's just the 2 pieces meet and that's it. And there might be a border of sorts, but I would really want to take like 20, I would want to hit 23 to 25 inches with this to make sure that like across this section right here. I can tell you for a fact it's not there yet. I don't, again, oh wait, I have my wrist ruler, haha. I can measure. It's nice and windy out today, so it's not too bad, but it's getting toasty out. Finally turned the AC on here in North Carolina, so, but the mountains are not as hot as the shore. I'm at about 7 inches, so I still have a ways to go before this will actually cover. Like if I actually put it back here at my side, you can see how it's not long enough yet. And because I have a wider torso, that means that these sleeves are going to be extra long, or longer than they would be on someone with a narrower torso. This one more just tells you to go until you have the right width. It doesn't have as many guidelines as the Granny Hexi by Crafted Cuppa that I'm using for all my other ones. But I'm excited to have a summery top. That's going to be really fun. This is Huasco Coton, C-O-T-O-N, Sparkle, and it is by Arcania. And if we don't have it up on our website yet, around the edges of getting ready for crawl, hope to update that. My other summer top, I've made sure I have the right number of stitches, but I am only like 1 row into the ribbing. Again, ribbing is catching me up. So this is going to be the Kuutar tee by Sari Nordlund, and it's with the Sonata from Noro. It's with this stuff. Don't have much progress to show y'all. So I have another one. This is the Sonata Shima. I still want to make a ranunculus out of this. I think it would be gorgeous. Might take 2 skeins. One was given to us by the yarn supplier, and we'll see where that takes me. You know, so, but that's hugely oversized. So I think in the other room, I have the Natsumeki I want to make a luminous summer top out of, which that should be nice and breezy. I'm actually using a dark and broody color for it. I'm interested to see how it knits up. I think that'll be fun. But I'm still gauge swatching for that. We had a big celebration for Liz's birthday. Liz's birthday was a week ago, but we celebrated on Saturday. And that meant that, that I didn't have much time on Saturday. It was busy. And of course, customers came in right when we were going to do all of our fun surprise cakes and stuff. Her husband did a wonderful surprise for her, and she wasn't expecting it, and it was fabulous. So, woohoo! I have progress to show on. I'm at a point where I can't try this on for y'all right now because I'm just getting it set up to start doing my sleeves 2 at a time. I'll talk more about that in a minute. But I have them set up on 2 circulars. I finished the ribbing at the end though. So this is the only ribbing I've gotten done this weekend. But I got a good almost, if not 2 inches there. And because this is set up for knitting the sleeves, it means it's very hard to try on. But, you know, it's not crazy long, but it also is at a point where I could feel comfortable calling the torso done, because I need to get this done, because June and July, which is just over a month away, we are starting our brain's gonna hiccup a lot apparently today. Don't quite have the headache I had last week, but the brain is still hiccuping. We're doing our next make along. Right now we're in the middle of the Granny Hexi, the one crochet make along we have. And this one I'm calling Make Your First Sweater. It is the flax sweater. It is by Tin Can Knits. It's a free pattern. If you have their app, you can have it just tell you the info for your size, which I find really, really wonderful. I have set this up. I don't know if I was fully paying. I usually set it up this way. I set it up this way. Doesn't matter. I have set this up to do the sleeves 2 at a time. And the way that you do that is, I have a video on it, which is more than me just talking at you all like this. I haven't added yarn yet. So what I did, these stitches were on stitch holders. These sleeves were on stitch holders. And I went, if it's the same way, if you look at it this way, I went up from the underarm up to the middle of the top with the needle. And then I took it to the underarm on this side. This needle goes over here and goes down to, if you're looking at it, which is flipped around from where I am, I believe it's going up the left side, so we can knit in a circle. So you go up one side from the underarm up, and then take that tip and go back down to the underarm up the same side, not when looking at it flat, but just looking at the opening straight on. So this one, for instance, goes from the underarm up on the front side of the sweater, and then the underarm up on the back side of the sweater. It looks like a hot mess, but it really does work. And then the other needle, for all intents and purposes, is coming down on the front side, or think about it as, if you're looking at it the right side, comes down, back down to the armhole, and then goes to the top of the other set of stitches and back down to the armhole. So it's kind of like taking your sleeve and your other one goes like this when they're on the same needle. And you can kind of almost stack them on top of each other. Like I said, I have a video that draws it out and shows it, I think, fairly well. A lot of people seem to like it. But you've got the one sleeve going underarm up and then stacked right on top of it, underarm up. And so when you knit it, the cool thing about when you knit it is I'm going to be going from the underarm up, like, so say it's a decrease row. I knit a couple stitches, or I knit and do my decrease right at the bottom here and knit up. And then I do that again. I knit the bottom, do my decrease and knit up. And then I will turn around and I will come down this side and do the decrease at the end of the row here. And then do the same thing again. Come down this side, do the decrease at the end of the row here. And so that way you're decreasing on exactly the same rows and your sleeves come out exactly the same length. And if I actually manage to get some progress done on this in a future week, I will take these off I'll make it so I can try it on and show you, and then put it back on to keep working. Because even though it's set up like this, I can still try it on. I just wouldn't try it on with these needles in these positions. I would either get all of them on, like one sleeve on one needle, one sleeve on the other, but then you have to make sure when you put them back that you put them back correctly so you can keep doing this loop in the same order. It sounds complicated, but once you get used to it, it is pretty awesome. So like I'm doing the garter panel at the top here, and what that, to go down the sleeves, it's on the shoulder. If I flip this over, there's a garter panel on this shoulder that goes all the way down, and there's a garter panel on this shoulder that goes all the way down. It's a little, the yarn I'm using is a little busy for it. It's almost hard to see unless you're looking for it. But that it can help me to keep track with the rows of which one to do this, you need to knit a row and then purl a row. And it can help me keep track doing them at the same time so that I don't accidentally have a bigger gap or a row where I knit two instead of knit one row, purl one row. So hope to be making good progress on this. I'm going to attach one ball over here on this one and one ball over here on this one. So I will knit up one and then switch to another ball and knit up the other. Like I said, I have a separate video that tackles a lot of this. I will either put it in the description or you can search for 2 at a time sleeves to see how that goes. Because it's ribbing, I have not made any more progress on my key sweater. It's still here 2 inches in. That has gone by the wayside as other things have been more enticing. And time has been limited because we are heading into full-blown yarn crawl prep. And I might have mentioned that before, but I'm definitely going to plug it on this channel in case anyone is either in the local area for Western North Carolina or wants to make a trip, because our shop will be doing stuff in shop only, but we will be having giveaways and door prizes and sales and specials, and there's a dozen shops in Western North Carolina that do this that the week before Mother's Day, so it's May 6th to the 11th. We do all kinds of fun things to celebrate yarn, and you can go to as many shops or as few shops as you want. I'm in charge of the website, so I need to update it because this year I've gotten like the general theme up, but we're doing all kinds of fun stuff this year, and it's going to be really cool. We decided on the theme of After the Storm because we wanted to celebrate perseverance post-Helene. Hurricane Helene hit the area really hard. A lot of our communities are still digging out and still trying to figure out, cleaning up the rivers, cleaning up all the debris that got swept away. One of our shops, Local Cloth, they're more of a co-op of artists and farms, and their shop they're still working on it. They're actually making really good progress. Their shop in the River Arts District, which was right along the French Broad River in Asheville, got hit really hard, like 10 feet, 12 feet of water just pushed through their building. A lot of things in River Arts District are trying to come back. It's very hard. They're almost there, not quite. They're going to be at Earth Guild, which is another shop in Asheville, for the week, and then Earth Guild is closed on the weekends. It's one of those, like, all the shops have different hours, and you really should plan that out if you're trying to hit all the shops. They will be doing a fiber festival, and we might have a square for that on our bingo card that we're putting together. They're going to be doing a fiber festival over the weekend. So last year we did, I'm kind of bouncing around a little bit, but anyone who knows me knows that's kind of what I do. Last year we did the Year of the Dragon because it was the Year of the Dragon in the Chinese zodiac, and we all kind of like dragons. I mean, I think I like them a lot. I won't say more than any other shop. There's my shop's named after that. It's because of my nephew. My niece also really loves dragons, and we did a dragon treasure hunt. And so we asked everyone to have some kind of dragon something in their shop, and you find the dragon and you can have your passport checked off, and if you make it to enough shops, then you get a certificate. We don't have big yarn giveaways for making it to all the shops. We do have daily prizes everyone can enter into at all the shops that are yarn related and things like that. But it's not so much getting a yarn prize for going to all the shops. It's getting some swag or getting some, like, we had little badges last year. It was really fun. This year we have certificates, and it's for either going to 4, 8, so we changed the Dymex a little bit, 4, 8, or 12 shops, or filling in things on a bingo card we made up. And some other shops worked really hard on it. So the bingo card has visiting shops, but it also has, like, starting a project in the shop, or it's got all kinds of really fun things. And it circles me back to the theme of After the Storm. We searching for the right words. The theme of After the Storm, like, we focus on the rainbow, the sign of hope and resilience, of you make it through the storm and you see the rainbow on the other side. And we are full of hope and resilience and doing our best to come back from Helene. And so we're focusing on all things rainbow. So, and every shop is implementing that the way they would like to. But one of the things we came up with of if you hit enough things on the bingo card or go to enough shops, you can get a certificate of being part of the rainbow trout, the rainbow chameleons, or the rainbow unicorns, depending on what level you get to. And we had some cartoonists at Pearl's Emporium draft some really, really cute looking animals for those certificates. I think they're very cool. I think it's awesome. So we're focusing on rainbows. So I am hoping to have yarn in our shop. I always like to kind of put it arranged like rainbows, but like in rainbow order. But I want to try to make a rainbow out of yarn in the pretty room in our shop, and we'll see. It's still in my head. We'll see. And I don't think I was going to do it with the Juniper Moon Patagonia, but I don't know if we have enough of each color to do that. So I might, fudge it. We'll see. But half of me is, so I'm using leftovers of this for this is 2 granny squares. I'm using leftovers of my Hexi Cardi to make this, but wouldn't this be cute in rainbow colors, right? So I'm at the point where she, I guess because it's chicken, right? Needs to be stuffed. But I think this is so cute. It's 2 little squares and you sew them together and you add the beak and the comb up there. And then if you stuff it, and of course I always have these ideas, I could make these and sell them, but not, that's not how we can actually make a profit. Because it takes too long to make. This took me a couple hours. That's not bad. But if I wanted a decent wage for this and to, get compensated for my supplies, I'd probably have to charge $30 for this. I don't know if someone's going to pay $30 for this. But okay, so it was a square, and then you take the top and the bottom and you squish them down and you sew this, and then you put a tail on, and I just think that is the most adorable thing. So I am going to try to sew this up while I'm talking to y'all. But what do you think? Do y'all think that that would be something really cute to have? Yeah, I think her eyes are a little... This is my prototype. This is... I'm already forgetting because I talked too long. But this was the Granny chicken. It's by like cozy something. I really like the little flower part to it. I want her to get fair credit where credit is due. So again, I'm pinching her butt together, and I have just been sewing these by going under the 2, like, I can show. I'm just kind of whip stitching where I'm getting under a V on the front and a V on the back. And if I keep hitting the next V, front and back, and if you do crochet, you might know what I'm talking about. When I teach, I talk about it going under the front V. I'm not really trying to hide it. In fact, it could be really fun if I decided to use a contrasting color, but I think that really, it looks pretty good. It doesn't look invisible, but I'm not going for that here because I think with something like this, you kind of want it to be visible. And I'm not quite all the way across, and it's not perfectly lined up, but I am not super worried about that. Just to make sure it goes, I'm actually gonna take one of the other tails that are here to finish sewing this up. But I'm gonna see if I can come out on the next V. I know that it's really hard to see stuff like this. Actually, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to come out in the same hole. Let me show that again. I want to come out in the same hole that I ended this strand with, so I can keep doing the same loop. So now that I'm up here, I can keep going from bottom to top. And I'm going to see if I can kind of fudge the bum here a little bit. If it's not perfectly lined up, it can get fudged. So, yeah, I'm excited about these. I think these are super cute. I was actually thinking as I was doing this, I'm going to put a little more stuffing in. I find sometimes as you're putting stuffing in and closing up, you can be like, you know, I would like the tail of the chicken to not be too flat down there. And I've been making more and more little stuffed animals, and I really like them. They do take time, and so it's not like I'm about to go to a craft show and sell these for like huge profit. It would be maybe making my money back on supplies, or sometimes people only double or triple that. But if it takes you a long time to make them, I mean, that's an ongoing debate I find is the people who say, you could do that for a living. You could, I mean, I tell people, quite honestly, the way I make a living at doing my craft is I don't sell what I make. I sell yarn so other people can make it. And I help people out here so that other people can make things. And there's my little chicken butt of sorts. And I could maybe kind of sort her out. She's supposed to have a little tail here. So if I remember, I will bring her back and show her to you next week, all finished. She does look a little funky if she looks at you straight on. I think I will try to, I put the eyes in the same spot on either side, I thought, but then when you look at her like this, she's a little cockeyed, which is an unintended pun, I suppose. I could have worked on the stuffing a little better. She got personality. She's saying, hey, what's up? This is super cute. 2 granny squares. Like, you could do this with basic granny squares. I was on a 3mm hook, which was actually not as, and I'm looking at, if I really want to reshape her, I keep not finishing my sentences. 3mm hook. She wanted to go even smaller for a DK yarn. And this is a light DK yarn, because the tighter the stitches, the less you see the stuffing and the more control you have over the shape. So using a regular G or H hook on this might give you something really big, like doing a regular granny square that doesn't have, regular granny squares have more holes even than this. This has a fun shape to it, which allows for not too many of these corners, like these guys, where things would be seen. So I may open her butt up and rearrange the stuffing a little bit, but that was fun to kind of do with you all. I feel like there was something else I was going to talk about that was going to be really interesting, but I guess I can go on a little more with the idea of making things to sell and trying to make a living at it. It's really, if you can, I feel like there's pros and cons to it, right? There's, people expect to not have to pay a lot for handmade things. Of the yarn variety, we have talked about this a lot at the shop with Liz and other people. It's almost like this is seen as women's work, could be one way to be like kind of downplay it, or it's just not seen as something as time consuming or labor intensive as like making an oak table, something like that. And some of it is really detailed work and takes a long time, and some of it, to have it done well, I think I'm of the opinion that anyone can do stuff and have it look good with knitting, but sometimes that's going to take a really long time. And to be able to charge top dollar and the amount that you want to for it because you've spent so much time on it is very challenging in the world we live in the United States especially. It's really just, it's not given the credit that it deserves. And so you either have to pick really inexpensive yarn, which makes the quality go down to be able to make a profit on it, or you need to charge a whole lot and you're not going to get your money back, you know, or people aren't going to buy it. This sweater, again, I haven't even kept track of. There are people who keep track of how many hours they spend knitting a sweater. This sweater, when I'm done, the expense might be between $80 and $100 of materials. And it is an acrylic blend yarn, so it is not a fancy yarn. And then I don't know how many hours I've put into it because I work on so many projects and I don't log hours on specific things. And I'm also not knitting for production. So I'm knitting for enjoyment. So I might be faster than some other people, but I'm still not going at a breakneck pace where I'm going to ruin my wrists and things like that to be able to make it cost effective. So, and that could be itself playing into the myth of that hand knit items should not be expensive. Is you see them at craft shows, and I'm not downplaying what people do at craft shows. I think it's beautiful, but they may not need it for an income, or they may be making it out of an inexpensive yarn to try to make a profit. And then if they're charging a low price because of that, and that also instills in people the idea that, oh, hand knit things like little beanies and gloves and things are gonna feel like acrylic. And again, acrylic is not bad. I mean, if we think about the planet and other things, kind of. But it's cost effective. It's a man-made product. It's essentially plastic, but it feels better than that. And it helps make it cost effective for people to do stuff. But then it makes people expect that even the expensive things are going to feel like the inexpensive things, if that makes sense. And that's hard for anyone to really charge what something is worth. I think you should knit with whatever you want to knit with, whenever you want to knit with it. But it is challenging if you're trying to sell it. Like, I remember the Friday Night Knit Club book that I read years ago, a fictional book, but it was like, she knit a really fancy dress out of really fancy yarn, and she could make a lot of money off of that. But on the whole, there's a little bit of the whole supply and demand and what people will pay for something. And I think I saw a post that was like, okay, someone did these really fancy things and charged $250, and she only sold 2. This was someone else's post, so I am not trying to represent this as my own thought. She only sold 2, and then someone else made a lot of really small things and only charged $20 for each thing, and she sold a bunch, but she ended up making less money than the person who charged $250. So it was one of those, But you have to hope that you're actually going to sell a couple things. I have done craft shows and trade circuits and things like that, not with my knit and crochet things, but with other metal work that I did, like embossing and things like that. And when you don't sell anything all day, this was around 2000. It wasn't the same as the 2008 recession, but it was a tough economic time. And it really sucked to go there and pay your booth fee and just sit there. And maybe some people would think your stuff is pretty, but nobody was buying stuff. And the kind of stuff I was making, I wasn't doing the right market for, I still had a lot of stuff to learn. But, and the internet game has changed so many things. But if you think about, it used to be, I'd like to make at least $10 an hour for what I'm doing. And say this took me only an hour, which it didn't. It took me longer. But say, and I left in the other room. The first one of this I made, instead of making it in sets of 8, I did 7 and didn't realize until I got to the outer layer and was putting on this blue part and or the yellow part to make it a square and went, this isn't going to work. So again, wasted time. I've done a whole video on how making mistakes, it's not wasted time. But it's time you have to factor into what you're charging for something. And so, yeah, it didn't take me a whole ball of yarn to make this. So let's say, but it took me several parts of several balls. So I would need to use up all the yarn from these different balls see how many chickens I could make out of them, or weigh them before and after making this chicken to see what percentage of the ball I used. And then I could say, okay, I can get so many chickens out of this, except for the beak is 5 colors. So let's say I could get 10 chickens out of 5 balls of yarn. Or 4, no, this is 1, 2, 3, 5 colors. Okay. Let's say I could get 10 chickens. Maybe I can get more, but if I can get 10 chickens out of 5 balls of yarn, that is $120 worth of yarn divided by 5. So that is I'm doing head math. And someone else is like, I already have the answer. I already have the answer. It's like $25 materials per chicken. That doesn't feel right. But, you know, let's say that was the case. No, okay. I'm just going to leave this all in because you're seeing my thought process here. Okay, 10 chickens out of 5 balls of yarn. That's not $120. That's if I use 10 balls of yarn. Can you tell I'm a little tired still? So instead of $120, it'd be like $60. So that feels better. I'm like, it wouldn't be taking me $25 a yarn to make this. So $60 worth of yarn, give or take, for 10 chickens. That is $6 a chicken. Now my math is going on. You see why we use our phones and our calculators so much in the shop. $6 a chicken. And then like at the shop, if we get something in for $6, we're going to try to sell it for $12. But for someone who's making this, it's more, you want to get back the money, the time you put into it. So we got the $6 for the cover the cost of the yarn. And we have, let's say it took me 2 hours to make this. Even at its very lowest, if I wanted to make $10 an hour, which is above federal minimum wage right now, but below what a lot of places are paying at least $15, if not $20 an hour for a lot of jobs. But if I just said $10 an hour, that's still $26 for this chicken. And then even with his little like off eyes, which I could, at this point, I can't fix that because I put them in, but I'm going to pay attention to that on the next chicken. Would you be willing to pay $26 to $30 for a little chicken like this? Most people would probably say no. It's kind of hard. I mean, let's say we want to make $15 an hour. That's $36 a chicken. I would love to do something like this, or the roses I used to make, to raise money for cystic fibrosis research, because that's getting hit hard with the cuts to medical research right now. And my niece has cystic fibrosis, and I used to make these really cool roses that I would sell, and I would donate half the profits to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. So then it becomes, am I just doing this as a pure work of charity and donating my time? Am I trying to get back the cost of the materials? I have to take what I want to make, and double that if I want to give half of what the sale price to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. Now, another way to look at it, and this is getting very nitpicky, if anyone was not chiming in to hear about money, you know, but sometimes people say half of the profits, and it could be the profits are not very much, and then you take half of that. You know, for me, since I would be doing it as a labor of love, I would probably take half of the sale price. But when you hear someone saying half of the profits are going to a charity, something like that, then you might want to ask questions like, how much of this is profit? Because it could be, if you're paying $20 for something, $26 for this, and the profit on this, it depends. If I'm counting my hourly wage as profit, then $20, $10 of this chicken is going to charity. If I'm counting my hourly wage not as profit but as an expense, then I would have to charge, say I take a $10 hourly wage, and then I want, I charge $36. So $20 of that is for me. $6 covers the expense. $10 that's left, half of that, that's profit. $10 is profit, half of it. Only $5 from each chicken goes to charity. So be careful for the language, you know, and be careful when you are raising money for a charity. If you are doing stuff like this, what language you use in case people come back later and say, wait, you only wrote the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation a check for $5. But I paid $36 for this. I thought $18 was going to charity. Be very clear about that. Like if you're saying half of the profits, be able to back up what is profit from each item. I know that kind of makes you feel like, for me, it makes me feel like, do I really want to do this? If it's going to be, if that it's going to be that difficult, right? But, I have always played around with selling stuff in the shop that I have made. But then I feel like I would have to put prices on everything. And it gets challenging. So, and since I am running a business and it's not a nonprofit, I do want to be able to put some money back into things that I am doing to keep the business afloat. So, you know, anyway. That went off on a weird tangent I wasn't expecting. So anyway, so this guy's really cute if we don't do that. It does. I just wish I had more time in the day because I had to stop fundraising for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation a few years ago because I was running the shop. I used to do the CF walk every year. There's one in my area. There's one in Brevard. I think it was at Brevard College last year. And, some years it's the same week as the crawl, and I definitely can't do it. It's our busiest week of the year at our shop, so I definitely can't do that. But I would love to, I would need to find a rose version of this chicken because the reason I make roses is the nickname for cystic fibrosis is 65 roses. And the lore is that one kid said, I know what y'all are talking about when they were trying to hide from this child that he was very sick. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about 65 roses because that's what he heard instead of cystic fibrosis. And so 65 roses is one of the nicknames of CF and what they do for that. And I'm brainstorming with you all as I'm doing this of like taking the pattern that's already there that someone else gets credit for, and changing the square, because you can do this with any square. If I can find one of the rose ones that actually has the, it looks like a rose is kind of popping off of the square, I think that would make a really cool chicken. And I could see what I could do to raise money for cystic fibrosis. I don't think I'd do it under my own, I don't know. I either would jump in this game super late to do it under the Sun Dragon moniker, basically. We have a national team called Strolling for Sarah. And my team was Strolling for Sarah too. And I could make it I could recreate my own branch of it again. But I may just decide to donate anything I can to my sister's campaign. She walks in Illinois with my niece. And I've got all these thoughts percolating now of wouldn't it be great if I could get a fundraiser going, but I'd need to have time for that. So I'll keep you posted on that. But thanks for coming along on the mind journey that I just took with you all as I was talking about things. And yeah. I will be back next week. I will hopefully have some progress on some of these fancier ones. I'm the most excited in terms of garments about this one. Like, about my summer tops. If I can get my summer tops going to the point where I could be wearing a summer top soon, that would be really lovely. So I will keep you posted. I can't, maybe after the yarn crawl, we'll see about getting back to the more instructional videos, but I also don't want to promise things I can't deliver on. I don't want to tease y'all too much with that. I do love my videos. I love that y'all are, like, I'm hearing from so many people that they're watching the ranunculus videos, and I think that is absolutely amazing. That is like my legacy on YouTube right now, and that is absolutely wonderful. We'll see. We'll see, because like I said, unless I'm working with a pattern writer at this point, I don't think I can reproduce that, because I don't have my own patterns. If I had my own patterns to show you what I was doing, that would be amazing. But I need to have the pattern writer's permission and be working in collaboration with a pattern writer to do something like that again. So if you all know of any pattern writers out there who would like some assistance making videos for instructional videos for their patterns, have them reach out to me, because I don't know who to talk to. I don't know who might want help with that, but it could be a win-win for everybody. Anyway, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna see what I can do with this little chicken, maybe to work on the stuffing so that the eyes look a little bit better, And I'm gonna look up a rose pattern because I have ideas. So, I hope you all are happy and healthy and all that good stuff. And may your crafting be filled with joy and confidence. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.